What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 38 of Gotta Watch 'Em All. My name is Ken Pescator, one of your hosts, joined by my co-host Adam Tuttle. Adam, it's almost Christmas.
It's almost time for Delibird.
I was just going to say that. Today is Wednesday, December 20th, 2017, so we're just a couple days away from Christmas, and to start the episode off, we got to go here. They've blessed the Pokemon Go community, and especially Adam, with the fact that Delibird was just kind of released into the media. There was a video that came out. Andrew Goldfarb from IGN went to Niantic, and they show him playing with some new tech that's, we'll get to about Pokemon Go, but they showed Delibird. Dude, Delibird's coming. I have a feeling by the time this podcast is released, you will have Delibird in your decks, and I'm so excited for you.
And I don't know how to compensate for the amount of space in my box to the amount of Delibirds I'm going to be catching.
You're gonna have to expand all the way to 1,500.
I will. I have some extra coins. Thinking on doing that.
This is what we're expecting. So we're expecting some type of holiday event. There was a leak that came out. I think it was a Singapore site where they show some images and some advertisements for the holiday event where there's going to be a star piece sale. We talked about the star piece in the last episode of Lured Up, which is going to be a new type of consumable item in Pokemon Go that will boost Stardust production for 30 minutes. It's like a 50% boost on that.
Hey, I'll take it.
Dude, that's going to be good. That's going to be good if you're like at a nest or something like that where you're just going to have real quick succession of catches. That's going to be an awesome little pick me up.
You're by a nest, you're by tons of Pokestops, you just lure it up. Totally.
Absolutely.
Just max out your catches.
But
throw an incense.
Heck yeah, dude. I've slept on the incense for a while. They kind of didn't give me the results I was looking for. And lately, they've been decent. They've been pretty decent with giving me some good spawns. And, for me, for whatever reason, the incense have never really been that strong an item. But, I forget what holiday box it was, but the incense were in there. So I ended up with like 20, 30 incense or something like that because I bought a bunch of the boxes. So as I've been ripping through them, it's like, all right, I can get down with this, because I've just been trying to catch like high volume.
Well, I've been trying to lower my box count, so I'm still going, appraising every single Pokemon and trying to free up space before, this event, so.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if they do some kind of, double Stardust or double XP or something like that, because we just had that so recently, but I just want to know, because if not, I'm just gonna do some evolution parties and clear out my space because I'm so packed with Pokemon right now. I've got nowhere to go. I'm pretty lean and mean right now with what I can get rid of without having more candy than I'd be able to expend with evolutions. So I'm holding tight. I hope something is announced. But the other big news of Pokemon Go this week, Ho-Oh, the 14th of December was the last day for Ho-Oh. And then on the 16th, they announced Groudon was available worldwide. So Groudon's been out for, 5 days now. It'll be going on. By the time this comes out, it'll be out a week. And I haven't had that much time to go out and raid. I've only done one Groudon raid. So I've been so slow just because I've been working so much and, preparing for the holiday and doing all that stuff. But I think Christmas Eve, Sunday, I think we're going to be going out early and trying to get in a bunch of raids because it's, I just think that'll be a fun day to do it and hang out with our friends from the shore and, hopefully Brother Kyle will come down. But, yeah, I want to get out there and do a couple more before Christmas.
Personally, I don't think I'll have any time to get to any more until after Christmas.
Gotta go to Home Depot, Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't know if I have enough time.
I don't know if I have enough time.
No, Christmas has been making things crazy and speaking of Christmas, I'm so excited for you to get Delibird, dude. Like,
I know you were just inserting pictures of the.
I was plugging pictures of Delibird into our, our shared Google Doc that we have the show notes on. And it's just like Delibird.
I'm like, oh no, my heart.
I don't want to go into too much detail on this, but there was also an announcement today of a new AR mode in Pokemon Go called AR Plus, which is going to be available currently on iOS 11 devices from the iPhone 6S forward. So minimum processor was going to be the one that was included on the 6S. and you have to be running iOS 11. So this AR mode will plant the Pokemon in the AR space. So in the, the virtual landscape that you're going to see through your device, it will plant the Pokemon in one spot. So that way you can move up to it, you can move away from it, to left, right, all that stuff, and you can actually move around the Pokemon. And there's going to be special bonuses that are associated with sneaking up and not, there's an awareness meter. So it looks amazing. They announced that it was going to be available today. It hasn't come live yet for me, and I haven't seen any photos or anything go up on Instagram or Twitter yet. So hopefully by the time this comes out, we'll be able to see what this is all about. But again, Andrew Goldfarb, when he went to Niantic, to demo the product, this is what he was using. And there's some really cool footage of him catching a Delibird and, going up against a Snorlax, and just the way it looks in this AR Plus mode is phenomenal. And I think a lot of people are going to either upgrade their phones or switch from Android to iOS just to take advantage of this. And it's like, it seems that, again, this is another thing that's kind of splitting the Pokemon Go community in half. Because the iOS people are all kind of dancing, and the Android people are like, hey, come on.
Well, somebody's always going to be complaining.
But this is a significant one.
I get it, yeah.
So there is hope on the horizon for Android users, because they said that the AR Core, which is I think what the Pixel 2 has, that's going to be spreading out to more Android phones, but it's just so hard to program and to make stuff for Android consistent across a large user base, because there's so many devices. There's so many different devices, so many different manufacturers. It's not as level a playing field as it is with iOS. It's like, all right, well, we have, three different operating systems that are active right now that the game supports. We're going to limit that down to one. And then on that one, it's only going to be running on devices that are 6S and newer. So now the count of devices is down to probably, a dozen or so with all the different versions that have come out since the 6S. But I'm excited to play with this. I think it's going to be really cool. Pokemon Master Holly uses an Android phone, so, I'm sure she's going to be like, hitting the Sprint store. Dude, right before the show, you were looking at phones.
Yeah, no, I need to upgrade. I'm looking at this and I'm like, are you kidding me? I have a 5S. This is the worst.
We gotta get you into something, because I think this mode is going to be really, really fun and a new way to play the game, and a much more immersive mode. And Nick from Trainer Tips kind of mentioned this in his last video, but he goes, if you were ever ashamed or embarrassed of playing Pokemon Go in public, or getting called out for doing it, cause you're walking around like staring at your phone mindlessly, picture that turned up to 11, because now you're going to be slowly creeping, trying to not scare the Pokemon. So it's going to look so funny to the outside world. Like, this is going to be really cool, because you're in a group and everyone's kind of, brings the Pokemon up on their catch screen, and then everyone is kind of acting out this, trying to be an expert handler, which is one of the bonuses you can get if you can get close enough to the Pokemon before catching it. But it's a whole new mode, but the fact of the matter is you're going to get bonus XP and bonus Stardust for catching Pokemon in this mode. So I don't know if that's enough incentive to use it a lot. Dude, the battery drain is going to be real. That's the thing that, I think people are going to get caught out there with, where if they run this mode a lot, they're going to see the battery just get
because it's constantly using the camera.
Yeah. And probably a metric ton of, processor power, because, it's really going to be straining if you have, especially like me, I have a 6S Plus, but that processor, isn't nearly as fast as what's in the 8 or the 10 now. So, I'm sure my machine will be chugging along trying to keep up, but they lied to us. They said it was available today. It's not available yet. So hopefully when you hear this in the future, it will be. But if you want to hear more in-depth coverage of all things Pokemon Go, check out the other podcast on this feed, Lured Up, which is Adam and I, along with my wife, Melissa, where we go into a much more in-depth and head-over-heels kind of look at Pokemon Go and strategies and experiences and community and all that stuff. So if you want to hear more, check that one out.
All right, well, let's talk about Pokemon cards now, okay?
Dude, this is your world, man. This is your world, and this was a big week. This is a huge week. I think this is something that's going to really shake up the TCG community, and rightfully so. This is a really cool update to the game.
Sun and Moon Ultra Prism Expansion. There's going to be over 150 new cards. There's 6 Prism Star cards, which you can only have one of each Prism Star in there. So you can have like one Lunala Prism and then one Super Boost Energy.
They featured some cards on Pokemon.com, this Lunala Prism and the Super Boost Energy Prism card. And these things look to be significantly OP. Like, you know, I understand the challenge is going to be able to get these cards out into play to use them in, you know, in the situation at the time that you need them. So you may end up, you know, searching for a card the whole match or holding onto a card when you don't need it the whole match. But they seem like this is going to really shake up the meta, I believe. And even in casual play, these cards seem like cards that can kind of turn the tide.
Yeah, just the Lunala alone has 160 hit points. Full Moon Star. For each of your opponent's Pokemon in play, attach a Psychic Energy card from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
So if they have a whole bench or all 6 Pokemon, you just search for 6 in your discard and attach them. And then the Super Boost Energy, if you have 3 stage 2s out, it counts as 4 of any energy. So that's like 1 Solgaleo, like Soul Burst. That's 1 Lunala's, you know, whatever his main
Psystorm.
Psystorm. That, I can see some serious strategies going with that.
It's pretty exciting. Like, when they came out with the break cards, that kind of shook things up, but it didn't really latch on.
It was too much because you had to, you know, evolve a stage 2 into a stage 3, which made it unreasonable for what they were. And if it was a basic, it was reasonable. And then stage 2s were a little bit or stage 1s were a little bit easier. But these Prism cards are a lot like Star cards in the past, but the Star cards, like Mew Star, like you can only have 1 in your deck. Like 1 Star card, period. But these, it looks like you can have one of each.
And then the other mechanic that they're going to be bringing in that was a part of the game, I don't know, years ago, is the Lost Zone. And this is like a secondary discard pile that once a card hits the Lost Zone, it can never be retrieved. Like, it's done. That card is completely out of the game. Your card pool just went down by 1. So anything that hits the Lost Zone will be out of the match. And this mechanic of the Prism cards brings back the Lost Zones. And some of these cards are going to be playing into that mechanic specifically. So that's a whole nother dynamic that I'm not used to at all because I've never played the game when the Lost Zone was a thing. But that's a pretty cool feature that this mechanic is like brand new for me. Do you have any experience playing with that style, with that Lost Zone?
I did. So there was a Gengar Prime, which had an ability that said any of your Pokemon that would get knocked out would go to the Lost Zone. And then there was also like a Mew, how the Mew now, it has that ability or power that you can copy moves from your opponent's active Pokemon, or, you know, whatever basic Pokemon are out. This Mew could copy things that were in the Lost Zone. So it was like benefits for having Pokemon in the Lost Zone. But there was also a stadium called Lost World, and it said, you know, like once, I think it was once during, you know, each player's turn, like if that player had, if there were 6 Pokemon in your Lost Zone, you could choose to just win the game.
What?
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, it was a lot. So like they could bring back other mechanics like that, like a stadium that says, whoa, if you have too many, you know, Pokemon in the Lost Zone, you're going to lose.
I wonder if this is going to continue forward though. Like, do you think that they're going to keep this going with future, like, cause the breaks are still here, you know, like, do you think that they're going to continue to keep this mechanic going, or do you think this is you know, one and done in this set?
No, I think that this is something that they're going to move forward with because the Prism, it looks like a Z crystal. So it makes sense to keep going with it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's saying that, you know, there's only 6 Prism cards. You know what I mean? They're going to make more. They have to. You
know, and it's funny that you say the Z crystal things, because this definitely is a marketing and timing thing where this is kind of, you know, happening in parody with something in the video games with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So a new trailer came out. It was like a video announcement of Ultra Necrozma. And Ultra Necrozma is a Prism Pokemon, and it has special moves. It has a unique Z move that's called Light That Burns the Sky, which the animation is just sick. And this is going to kind of be like it's not like a Mega, but it's an Ultra, but it comes off of either Dawn Wings or Duskmane Necrozma. So you have to get your Lunala or Solgaleo and your Necrozma to, do their thing, so they become the Dawn Wings or Duskmane, and then from there, there's the Ultra Necrozium Z Crystal, which, rather than it being called a Z move, it's called an Ultra Burst, like that's what it would say on the screen. You activate the Ultra Burst, and then your Dawn Wings or Duskmane will become Ultra Necrozma, and the thing looks awesome. Like, it looks almost angelic, but very demonic, so it's like this cool blend of light and dark. It's very bright and shiny, but the style of it is kind of on the darker side, so I like how they had that kind of light dark thing going on.
Yeah, it's so intense.
It looks awesome.
It's so intense. But, like, this is the thing. So, like, Pokemon, they have blocks, and that's how they rotate. So, I think with the next rotation, all the, like, evolutions, evolutions and all the break sets will be gone. So, like, once the new rotation hits, that stuff's gonna be gone. Yeah, so there's a bunch of sets that, go off of that theme. So I think that we should expect to see at least 2 more sets with this theme.
I see what you're saying. That makes total sense, but I kind of like how they're doing this in conjunction with, this madness that's happening in the video games. You have Prism cards in a whole set based around Prism cards, and then you have Ultra Necrozma, the Prism Pokemon, all happening at the same time. But while we're on the topic of this trailer that came out with the Ultra Necrozma, there was another tidbit of information that's in there. We saw UB adhesive. They announced that maybe a month ago, 2 months ago, or something like that already. So we've known about this Ultra Beast adhesive, which is also called Poipole. But now, in this trailer, they announced that UB adhesive can evolve into UB Stinger, which is really badass looking, kind of weird bug, psychic, crazy thing that's poison
like a
dragon
bumblebee
type. It's so cool. The design is super cool. And it requires like a very, very specific set of conditions to evolve. You need, battle points to do it. So it's like you have to play in some of the end game stuff in the battle tree in Pony Island. So, which is true end game stuff. So it's really cool how they're introducing this, but this is the first Ultra Beast that they've announced that can actually evolve. So that's pretty neat. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Another thing in the video game world for 3DS Virtual Console, Pokemon Crystal is coming out about a month from now. January 26th it's going to be released. They've added wireless trading. It's also compatible with Pokemon Bank. So I've never been one to kind of play on emulators. If I'm going to play the game, I prefer to play it, natively, like in its original form. But because that's not practical, and I've got Game Boy Colors and stuff lying around all over this house, the games are super lame to play on that when you could play on a much more comfortable device like the 3DS. So I dig that these games are coming back out because it gives you the opportunity to play with newer mechanics like Pokemon Bank, but you don't have to go to like a third-party emulator. You're still playing it from the source, which I would prefer to do just from I want to support the creator kind of perspective. So I dig it for that reason. I mean, I'll never go back and play Pokemon Crystal right now because I'm still, trying to hack my way through Ultra Moon. And you know what? Let's talk about this. Where are you at? You said you've progressed since the last episode.
I just beat Lana's challenge or trial, the wishy-washy one, which literally it was like a big running joke, and it was awesome.
Yeah, they got me totally too. I mean, I guess it's not spoiler zone because it's early in the game, but
well, whatever. I'm like school form wishy-washy, like I'm down for this, and then all of a sudden it's like the spider thing. I'm like, no, are you kidding me? I was waiting for it the entire time, and like they even did the whole shadow thing, so you thought it was there, and then
yeah, they totally played us out. That was really, really funny. I enjoyed that, and it's cool because of the sarcasm of Lana. Like during that whole thing, she's just like, "Wait, what is it?" And she's just she's like, "Gotcha, got him."
Hook, line, and sinker.
It's this weird robot-looking evil demon spider fish frog thing. Also on Pokemon.com, if you're just getting into Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, they put together a really cool guide of how to catch the legendary Pokemon in the game and some tips on what to do, because this is like end game content for the most part. I think midpoint of the game, you unlock the ability to open this wormhole that can take you to where you need to go to catch these legendaries. But it gives you a nice little guide of what to expect and how to, build out a party. And it's cool tips. I like when Pokemon.com puts this stuff together because similar to the playing on an emulator conversation I was just saying, I like when the info comes from the source. So it's cool reading tips and, that kind of stuff directly from the source because it just seems different from when, everything else I listen to or read is usually community based or, openly sourced on forums or whatever. So it's cool when you hear it from the horse's mouth because it's just a weird angle. It's always an interesting take. They kind of, peel back the curtain a little bit and you get to steal little bits of info out of that. So
yeah, I like that. I like that they specifically talk about the Master Ball and not to use the Master Ball on
they're like
Necrozma and Solgaleo and Lunala just because they're easier to catch and you can't progress in the game until after you catch those. So very interesting. Mm-hmm. I definitely got a good read out of that.
Pokemon Center this week. There's nothing new. They bombarded us with product for leading up to the Christmas season, so I don't mind that there's nothing else on here because I'm tapped out with Pokemon Center. I've ordered some stuff over the past couple of weeks, so I'm kind of tapped out. So I'm glad that there's a little bit of a break because I need to recoup my my wallet a bit, with that place. But there's been some cool holiday plushes. But if you go to there's the holiday gift guides are still up and. They put together like a Christmas page of all the different seasonal stuff that's been released over the years that's still available, including the Pikachu with the Delibird cape, which is super cute.
Oh, I want one of those.
Yes. #Delibird hype.
#Delibird hype. What?
All right, so let's get into this episode. I've been looking forward to this one for a while.
Yeah, you have.
When I originally watched the anime, this was, Melissa's a huge Snorlax fan, so we have this, and I gotta find it. It's in some bin in my basement, but I have this on a single VHS, like the actual store-bought Pokemon VHS for Wake Up Snorlax. We have it on video cassette VHS. I gotta find this thing because the artwork is on it. It's super cool. But we must have watched that tape. I don't know how many times. This was like our favorite episode of all time back in the day. And, watching this episode brought back a lot of really fond memories and oh man, dude, this was a fantastic episode. So, original air date, Wake Up Snorlax, October 28th, 1998. So, this is now after the kind of the seizure episode thing is kind of blown over. All that stuff has kind of worked itself out as far as the show's timeline for the US release of episodes. So it's back in full swing here. I like how this episode starts. Obviously, we know the episodes are going to start with, the party just kind of walking along like they always do. But this episode, just like last one, starts off with the battle music in the background, and I get hyped whenever I hear the battle music. Yes, no. It's like, dude, totally. Like, I really get souped up. The narrator comes on, and he's like, talking about how they're on their way to their next adventure, and, Pikachu's keeping a keen eye out for them, and meanwhile, Pikachu's like sleeping on Ash's back, really cute. And the party ends up coming across this old hippie guy, who's the absolute highlight of this episode. This guy is awesome. And even on Bulbapedia, there's no name for this guy. They literally just call him the hippie. So he's got like this, he's long hair, like he looks awesome. And he's got a flute. He's got a PokéFlute. And this is a special flute that he starts rocking out, playing, like he just starts performing and everyone's amazed. They're like, oh, this is awesome. And the guy's kind of jamming out on this flute. And
Pikachu's ear is like bloop bloop, and then Pikachu wakes up because it's a PokéFlute. It wakes up sleeping Pokemon.
yes. And as he wraps up the song that he's playing, it's the most hilarious thing. And I got to cut the audio in here. It's the most hilarious thing, but he's just like, what does he say? He goes, "Hey, now that I'm done playing my music, how about you give me some food?" Like, it's like, what? What? It's totally bizarre. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But this guy's so great. He's got a huge mustache. He's got a huge nose. He just looks totally rad. I love this guy so much.
And he's so chill. He's just like,
Yeah, man. How about you give me some food?
Yeah, we don't have any food ourselves. Come on.
He goes, you don't even have a cookie? It's so good.
A cookie? A cookie? Are you kidding me?
So they explain to him that they don't have any food themselves and kind of carry on their way and just keep walking. And the hippie's like, man, another free concert, man. Or something like that, which is really funny.
Like, come on.
And Pikachu ends up seeing a town off in the distance, so they get super excited. And that's when the camera pans back to the hippie, and Team Rocket have now crossed paths with him. And he's now performing for Team Rocket and kind of does the same thing. You know, as soon as he's done, he's like, asked them for money. And, obviously Team Rocket starts just bashing him that he needs lessons and that he's terrible and all that stuff.
Typical Team Rocket fashion.
So they arrive at the town. The bakery in the town is completely empty. They show up. They're like, food. And they're like, all the shelves are empty. There's nothing in sight. The villagers tell them that kind of everything is sold out from the markets. There's nothing there. And they're all kind of just sitting on a stoop, all bummed out. And another cool looking character, I really like the art design on this guy too, comes over and he's got this really funky mustache.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, he ends up being the mayor of the town and kind of explains what's going on and ultimately takes them in back to his, private residence, his house, and feeds them. And they're at this beautiful table and there's stuff in their face. Like there's tons of food all laid out everywhere and they're just pigging out. And the mayor goes on to explain that there's been an issue with the water supply in the town where the river is dried up, it's not running anymore, and that food has become exceptionally scarce, and that they're having a hard time even feeding the people in the community. Now, meanwhile, Brock, Misty, and Ash are kind of stuffing their faces, like gorging themselves. So they kind of stop for a second, and he's like, no, it's all good, we've got plenty of supplies, I guess his family says family owns markets, so he's got plenty of ingredients there, but it ends up that the river that leads through the town has completely dried up, so they have no crops, the animals can't drink, it's just everything, the whole place is in bad shape, and that's when Brock is like, hey, have you checked upstream? What could be the problem? Why is this happening? Of course, Brock is the one who's going to start investigating, and that's when kind of Ash is gets intrigued about this, and they want to investigate it further.
Yeah, right? Because it's like, have you checked upstream? It's like, how's this time gone by, and you haven't been like, oh, let's see what's up there. I don't get that.
Cartoon, man.
Wouldn't you investigate? So they start walking, the team walks upstream. They come across a giant, thorny patch in the riverbed. And so they start crawling through it. It cuts Misty's arm.
Yeah, which is, you're not used to seeing blood in a cartoon, but when she gets scratched, they really animate it well. It's like, ooh, ow. It scratches her arm, and it's just like, yo, that I felt that.
Yeah, because they did the right mood music, and it just kind of happened. It's like, ooh, and everybody freezes. Pikachu's having a hard time, and Brock's like, let's have our Pokemon help out. So Ash brings out Bulbasaur, and he tells him to use Razor Leaf, which cuts through the vines. Misty's getting ready to send out Starmie, but who comes out?
Yeah, boy.
Psyduck. And he's just upside down, tangled in the vines.
Yeah,
all
cut up and stuff.
And they show the blood on him. Well, whatever their animation of it is. But they finally get out of the thorn bed, and they see this dried up spring. And so they keep walking, and when they turn the corner, they see Snorlax in all of his glory.
Dude,
just sleeping right in front of them.
It's so good. They peek around the bend, and you just see a little foot and his giant belly just kind of sticking out, and it's like, yes! If you don't know who Snorlax is, at this point,
you better recognize.
Because it's so great. When they finally turn the corner and see him, it's like, oh, look at his girth. It's so glorious.
Yeah, he's so much bigger than every other Pokemon and all of them. So he's sleeping, and they can see that the water is trickling from him. They're like, he's blocking the flow. So they try to wake him up, and nothing they're trying is working. They try to move him, but he weighs 1,000 pounds. And so, at being typical Ash, he chucks a Pokeball at it, and it just bounces
He's like,
off
maybe
his
we'll
belly.
catch it in a Pokeball.
And it's just like, boom. Like, whatever that sound is, like, that's exactly what a Pokeball off a belly sounds like. Team Rocket is spying on them, and they, rush in. Jessie's got an old camcorder, and she's videotaping James, and they're trying really hard to wake him up. So
Now,
they can take the turn and capture it.
The fact that kids could watch this right now and be like, what the heck is Jessie holding? Because it's like one of those shoulder-mounted VHS video cameras. Yeah. Like, I bet you this, if my son were to watch this, I should get him to watch this scene and see what he thinks. People wouldn't even know what this is because it's the old school style that you actually had to mount on your shoulder to follow it around. But continue. But I was cracking up. I was like, dude, I bet you kids wouldn't even know what this is.
I mean, I only know what it is because, like, my parents had one, and, like, I used it a lot to video record. And I would use that to record from the TV to get Pokemon.
Oh, off the video camera?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, sometimes I needed to do it.
Team Rocket unsuccessfully tries to wake up Snorlax over and over again. Meowth ends up showing up in the Meowth balloon, and he kind of calls out, and he's like, "It's time to begin the Ultra Deluxe Balloon Bang Bang." All right, let's appreciate that for a moment. The Ultra Deluxe Balloon Bang Bang. That's the name of their evil plan for the episode. So it's absolute brilliant.
All right, we're starting a band.
It's absolute.
That's what we're calling it. Ultra Deluxe Balloon Bang Bang.
And Meowth lowers down these, like, shackles, like metal shackles, and Ash kind of understands what's going on and is like, look, clearly Team Rocket wants Snorlax for, their own, nefarious reasons.
And they're totally on board with it.
They're totally okay. They're, because he's saying, well, I know that they're going to steal Snorlax, but if we move Snorlax and allow this to happen, it's going to restore the flow of water and save the village.
And it's the most beautiful scene. I love this so much because Ash is just like waving all Meowth's like little clasps down and just clamps onto his leg, like, and then Jessie and James are on the other side clamping down the other ones. I'm like, oh, they're working together.
Meowth even calls it out. He's like, who would have thought, Team Rocket and Team Twerp working together? But it's like, I remember when because of course Melissa watched this episode with me the first time, and she's like, how could Ash do this to Snorlax? Like, she was so upset that Ash, was kind of working with Team Rocket to allow them to steal it. But yeah, it's no joke. Like, they put these shackles on, and Meowth hits the throttle and the flame on the balloon and tries to pick Snorlax up, and it kind of gets its arms up in the air and starts to get its feet up in the air, but as soon as it really starts to, try to get the full weight of Snorlax off the ground, the cables from these shackles completely snap, rip and bounce back towards the balloon and blast off Meowth, way out into the distance. And Jessie and James are just on the floor, like, watching them. And Ash too is just like, okay, now what? We're really on Beat Street now because the plan that we had agreed to, as nefarious as it was, has failed, clearly. I mean, it's Team Rocket trying to do it. It spawns the most ridiculously brilliant Jessie idea ever, that she goes, hey, remember that Sleeping Beauty thing? Or what does she say? Like the old fairy tale?
Yeah, the old fairy tale with the prince kisses, the prince or whatever.
Yeah, the prince kisses the Sleeping Beauty to wake it up.
Yeah, that's what it is. Not the prince kisses the prince. Jeez.
They kind of think that this might work, where if someone were to kiss Snorlax would wake up. So it's a ridiculous idea, but they're really thinking hard of, like, how are they going to do this, and what Pokemon should be the one to kiss Snorlax.
And Brock says Misty's Horsey would be excellent.
Well, it's noble. They said, it's gotta be royalty. That's the kind of mindset they have because of the storybook element. So they're like, well, they mention Horsey, but little do we know that ultimately Seadra, which is Gen 1 Pokemon, would evolve into Kingdra later on, because Kingdra wasn't in the picture, and then that's really royalty. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow, yeah.
That's
Didn't
what
even put that
I kind
together.
of thought that in the back of my head. I was like, I wonder if they said horsey because of that, but could they have known? Because Ash says, yeah, it's kind of like a prince's horse, you know? So that I thought that was kind of neat, because ultimately it evolves into Kingdra, which is, you know, clearly a royalty nod. But they end up trying to make this all work, and Misty reluctantly agrees and throws out the Pokeball, and of course, who comes out to play instead of Horsey? Psyduck. And like in midair, it like just lays this big smacker right on Snorlax's lips. It's the funniest thing. And you know, and then your homegirl Misty does what she does best and abuses her Pokemon by just smacking him right in the top of the head. And then now, so they're out of luck. Now Team Rocket wants to give this a whirl. So they volunteer Meowth, and they dress him up like
a prince.
Like a prince, but like, you know, Shakespearean style, like, you know, ruffled, you know, clothing. Looks totally ridiculous, but he looks cool. And, you know, James is like, come on, Meowth, give Snorlax a big wet one. It's really funny. And Meowth is not, you know, he's happy to be dressed up and play, you know, like that role, but he's not excited about kissing Snorlax in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not up for that.
So then they pretty much force Meowth into kissing Snorlax on the lips, and it's really funny because they would never be able to get away with this now. But they, you know, so they're forcing Meowth to do this, and he ends up really laying one on Snorlax pretty heavy.
Snorlax's face in this is awesome.
So he doesn't wake up, but he kind of like, you could tell that in his slumber, he's very not okay and uncomfortable with what's going on.
He's so uncomfortable. He's like, like, what was that?
And doesn't like Ash or Brock go like, is he poisoned? Like from the kiss. So I thought that was really funny. But there's a funny image of Meowth kind of being pushed, his face pushed right into Snorlax as he's, you know, laying one on. I thought that was really stupid and really funny, but something that probably would not be able to go down in today's cartoon standards.
As he's making this uncomfortable face, you know, he lifts his like butt cheek. He kind of like moves over a little bit and exposes this like hotel door do not disturb sign. And on the back, because Ash pulls it out, it goes, in case of emergency, please use a PokéFlute to wake. And then
Dude, all right, wait.
Brock's aha moment.
Wait a second. Wait. We got to stop and acknowledge how ridiculous this is. One, that while he's still sleeping, he lifts up a butt cheek, and there just happens to be a hotel door do not disturb thing that's customized with Snorlax on it. Like, does he keep these around and just like puts one under his butt before he goes to sleep? Like, it's so ridiculous. And the second Melissa saw it, she's like, where can I order that? Can I make that? Like, that's what, you know, she's like, I need to make these and make it a thing and put them on Etsy or something.
Yeah, go for it. I'd say go for it. So Brock has that aha moment, remembers that, you know, that you can wake up a Snorlax with a PokéFlute.
It's like, you knew this the whole time?
Like, right? You're the book of knowledge. Come on, Brock. But they remember, you know, who happened to have one at the start of the episode? The Hippie. And they immediately they're like, all right, let's go get him. And Team Rocket does the same. And because they hear that too, and they're like, oh, we're going to race you. They end up fighting over the Hippie, which...
Yeah, they're like tugging on him, like side to side. He goes, hey man, if you guys don't chill out, you're going to end up with two of me, or something like that. Like he's getting like Stretch Armstrong stretched out.
He's super excited about it. No. Which, you know, eventually leads to a battle. And Jesse sends out Arbok, and Ash sends out Pidgeotto. And Ash decides to use Gust, and it just completely destroys Team Rocket. Like,
dude, it's just like the most ridiculously powerful Gust I've ever seen in any episode.
Like, Whirlwind is the equivalent to what happens, but they use Gust.
It's like a Z move. It's like world-ending amount of wind.
Yeah, and it creates a tornado and just sends them flying off. Like, I'm like, what? Like,
yeah, dude, Pidgeotto's beast mode. It was awesome.
Pidgeotto is beast mode. Every time I see him in Go, I catch him. I'm like, yes, Pidgeotto. Back to the episode. They bring back the Hippie to Snorlax. And then the hippie's like, this is my Snorlax. And it's like, he's like, yeah, it's been here for weeks or 2 weeks or something like that. And I'm like, there you go. But Ash tells them about the water, and he's like, all right, I'll play the PokéFlute. And Snorlax wakes up and does like a little exercise dance.
It's so great. It's so great.
Yeah, it is one of those, like, you wake up and do a couple stretches, like that's what it looks like, moving to the left, moving to the right.
It's like a little aerobics.
Yeah, and like Pikachu's in love with this dance too. Snorlax wakes up and just starts walking away.
And he's like, all right, buddy, see you later. The hippie is so chill.
It wasn't Snorlax that was blocking the water after all. It was more thorns. They can, after he moves, it reveals that. But luckily, Snorlax eats thorns, because the thorns start moving. The Pokedex says it can eat 900 pounds of food before going back to sleep. So Snorlax is eating all these thorns, and as he's eating these thorns, the water starts to flow. And it gets a little bit heavier.
He completely clears it out. The hippie's like, man, looks like someone's got a case of the bunchies. Dude, Melissa and I fell out when we heard that. We were like, yes! So good. So good.
As the episode's closing, Team Rocket runs into the hippie again, and he explains that Snorlax went back to sleep.
Yeah.
And an alarm goes off, and the hippie pulls out a little cute little Snorlax clock. Time to wake up another Snorlax.
Dude, so good.
And it says number 7 on there, so like he has 7 Snorlax. Like, this guy is a true hardcore Snorlax collector.
What I love about it is all his Snorlax are just kind of scattered around in the wild, and he just makes his hippie little way from Snorlax to Snorlax, waking him up. And he even says, like, I think Team Rocket says, like, when will he wake up? And he goes, I think this Snorlax wakes up like once a month or something like that. No, doesn't he say like once a moon? Once a moon. He's such a hippie. But I just love the character. I think he's super cool. And the fact that I could just picture this guy's life of just moving around, where the wind takes him, moving from Snorlax to Snorlax, jamming out on his flute and waking him up and then just moving on. It's like, yeah, man, what a life, man. So cool. So cool.
He's so carefree.
He totally is.
Play my PokéFlute.
As the Snorlax is going back to sleep after stuffing his face with all the thorns, this is the time when Team Rocket is kind of approaching him all bummed out because he's back asleep. Snorlax ends up like kind of rolling over in his sleep and just flattening Team Rocket. So, there's always that little last 10 second of, seconds. Yeah. The like adding insult to injury, This was such a fun episode. Like, this kind of positive, goofy kind of episode like this, it doesn't bother me that this could be like one of those cut and paste episodes that you could just lift out of the timeline and drop anywhere in, because this was such a fun episode. I didn't even care. I gotta find a VCR. I would love to watch this on the old tape and see how like warped and distorted it is, because I've played that tape like probably 200 times. But I don't know, man. This is a double thumbs way up for me for this episode.
Yeah, no, it was an awesome episode. I really enjoyed this one.
Absolutely. This was a really good one. But yeah.
So now we need to get on creating a Snorlax sleep timer and those doorknobs.
Dude, I want a PokéFlute. I want an actual PokéFlute.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Get like a recorder and a Pokeball and kind of mash them up. That'd be awesome. Then I just need to have the skills of the hippie to actually play it, to play the lullaby, the reverse lullaby.
That PokéFlute plays a pretty mean tune.
Let's get into the final portion of our show, which is my favorite portion of the show, and that's when we get to open a booster. Yeah. I am ripping open the side of a Crimson Invasion Elite Trainer box right now. Oh yeah, it smells so good. I love the smell of new cards, new stuff. Listen, a whole box of goodies from Crimson Invasion.
Oh my goodness, that sounds like music to my ears.
Alright. Well, I've got a Crimson Invasion booster. And I'm opening this sucker right meow. If it'll ever open. I try to open them as gently as possible, so sometimes it takes me a while. Okay, here we go. Counter Energy. Sea of Nothingness. Miltank, Cubone, Salandit, Phoebus, Carablast, Jangmo-O, Melodic, where's my reverse, and my rare is a Starmie non-hollow.
No. Well, they tried to use Starmie, see? So that worked in the episode a little bit. All right, I have a Steam Siege booster, and I just kind of tear through my packs. I don't know if you've been seeing our Insta boosters, but I mean, Instagram only gives you so much.
You got to make the most of your time.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got a Bergmite, a Fungus, a Joltik, a Litwick, Ponyta, Drifloon, Fletchinder, Tangrowth, Reverse Hollow Clank, and a Mega Gardevoir EX.
What? That's one of the best cards from that set.
Yeah, Despair Ray.
That is awesome.
Discard as many Pokemon as you want from your bench. This attack does 10 more damage for each. What?
Yeah,
that's sweet.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Gardevoir is full art, but
Gardevoir might be my. Oh, come on. Gardevoir might be my my favorite. One of my favorite Gen 3s, for sure. I love the design, and it always looks awesome in card form. Some of those cards, man, the art is fantastic.
Yeah, my favorite Gen 3 is Sableye. Speaking of Sableye.
Oh, well, can we mention real quick that Adam has now caught 2 shiny Sableye in Pokemon Go? You heard? Yeah, exactly. It's so awesome. I'm happy for you. That's
terrible
crazy.
IVs. I mean, I'm happy I caught it. Don't get me wrong. And I want to dump every ounce of Stardust I can to level it up as high as I can. Just because I want to be able to drop this in gyms. I already dropped my other one in gyms. He's all the way powered up as well, but they're just both garbage IVs. But seeing that yellow is just like, oh. And I was walking out of work, and my screen was wet because it was raining, and I'm like, oh no! And I tried to touch the Ultra Ball a couple times, and it was just like just floating there, and I'm like, okay, I'm just waiting till I get in my car. I'm gonna put it in AR mode. I'm gonna wipe off the screen so it doesn't throw a Pokeball. And then I took it off, and I ended up catching it, but it was just, It was so stressful because it was raining. I was like, oh no. But some sweet pulls.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Gardevoir is a good Pokemon, and I like Steam Siege. I remember that set. I've got a good amount of Steam Siege. All right, so that's the show. Next week is Christmas, and then New Year's. So we haven't really decided on what we're going to do for the schedule in the upcoming, 7 and 10 days. Because the holidays, but we'll figure it out. But I'm sure we'll have, communication will be out on our social media. You can also check out gottawatchemall.com. Please email us, gottawatchemallpodcast@gmail.com. We do want to hear from you. Give us a review in iTunes. That would help us a lot. You can do it right from the podcast app in iOS. And like I said, check out gottawatchemall.com for everything that we're doing. I can be found personally on Twitter at ProudGamerTweet. Adam, where can they find you out on the interwebs?
You can find me personally at PhoenixBack4Fire.
And that's a show. Happy early holidays, guys. I'm sure we'll talk again, or we'll have some kind of communication before, Christmas. But just in case we don't, or you don't hear from us, happy holidays! Yay!
Happy Hollandaise.
Delibird, happy Hollandaise sauce.
Happy Delibird. Wait, nice. Happy Merry Delibirdmas? I don't know.
Dude,
whatever you're supposed to say.
Delibird's coming to Pokemon Go. Yes.
I'm so excited. Hopefully I wake up tomorrow and it's just like, Delibird's here. Yes!
Yes.
Delibird!
All right, everyone. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace!